happy Friday and welcome to Friday Night Movie Night on the Basement Show with Mr. Knast. I am Mr. Knast. I am flying solo tonight. I mean, life happened. My other two hosts had unfortunate things come up, but I still wanted to come on here and see who showed up in the chat, say what's up. If anyone wants to join in on the fun, let me know that you're here. I'm always happy to see everybody. I appreciate everyone coming back for another fun-filled show. So, a little different tonight. I am usually joined by either Miss Andrea or Mike. They both had things to do. So, you got me tonight. If you're in the chat, make sure to say hello, drop a like. Let me know you're here. I always appreciate any support that we get on this channel. So, I will wait a couple seconds, let people pile in. So, hope everyone had a fun-filled Friday. I mean, I had a slight housing issue at my house this afternoon, morning, whatever you want to call it, but I have since got it resolved. I'm really happy to know that. So, yeah, here I am. I mean, let me know you're here. I mean, it says I got 5 people watching already. I know I'm one of them, but if you're also in the chat, let me know you're watching. Say hello, evening. You want to wish me a happy early birthday? Wink, wink. Tomorrow's my birthday. Just kidding, but not really. But I just appreciate everyone taking time out and popping in to say what's up. I mean, I know people probably showed up and were expecting to see Andrea. Everyone loves Miss Andrea, myself included. But things happen. So, I just got a message from Sam. I had messaged Mr. Simmons if he wanted to jump on tonight, and he just replied back. What's up, Gary? Good evening. Well, happy to see you. Thanks for popping in tonight. Hope work was good today. I'm on my second day of vacation. You won't see me at work until next Friday, so I am going to enjoy some nice time off. But I have a lot of things I need to do. So, good evening to the best dreamer out there. Happy birthday tomorrow. Yes, I am turning the lovely age of 36. It is. Andrea, I'm lonely, but you're here in spirit, so it is all good. Miss Andrea had a very long day. It's quite okay. Happy birthday tomorrow, John. Sorry what kept me so late. Andrea, I completely understand. You have nothing to be sorry about, Andrea. Things happen. So, just got Wegmans, got 2 quarts. What do you mean, Gary? Just got done Wegmans and got 2 quarts. Can you explain that a little bit more for me, sir? Please and thank you. So, I know me and Miss Andrew, we're going to talk about specifically the year 1987, since, after all, it is my birthday tomorrow, and I am turning 36. But we will also, if that didn't work out, just going to talk about the 1980s. Again, things don't work out, as always. So, those who are in chat, if you want to have a specific discussion tonight, I will save the movie talk for when Miss Andrew is available. And I will hang out and talk to you guys for a while. If you guys have any questions that you would like to know, maybe get to know me a little bit better. I mean, a lot of people have known me for many years. So I know I'm not the most popular guy, but I'm also a laid-back guy who likes to have fun, as you can see with this channel. The music from the 80s, Andrea, is by far my favorite. I mean, if you ask me, I like 80s, late 90s, and then early 2000s. Other than that, music is 70s music. I know a lot of people that like 70s music. It wasn't really my cup of tea. And then later in the 2000s, the music just, if you ask me, has gone downhill. But 80s music is by far my favorite music. I'm a big Phil Collins fan, Genesis, Metallica started in the late 70s, early 80s. Aha with Take On Me is a very well-known song that I enjoy. Then the one that everyone seems to always laugh about and laugh about is Never Gonna Give You Up by Rick Anstey. If you get that, you get Rick rolled. I'm not gonna start singing, but Andrew is right. "Take on Me" is a great song. Trust me, nobody wants to sit here and listen to me sing. Speaking of me speaking, how do I sound? I have recently just purchased a new microphone. First time using it on the show, so I'm just curious to know, how does it sound? Do you guys like it? Does it sound nice and clear? I have headphones in. Obviously, I have no one talking to me, so it's hard to get a judge on how I sound. So if you can tell me how I sound, if you're hanging out in chat, I would appreciate it. I mean, it's a fancy new mic. It's a Tenor Q9, they call it. Has a nice little pop filter. Has an extendable arm. One of my favorite movies from 1987 was Untouchables. That movie sounds familiar, Curtis. I really didn't do any research. I've been on the go all day trying to figure out my heating situation in my house. That was the problem I had. I had a bad pressure switch go on my heater, so my heater wasn't heating properly. So I had my brother-in-law come over and help me out with it, and we diagnosed the problem. We bypassed it for the evening so I can warm my house up, because my house was down to 52 degrees. That may not bother me, but some of the people I have coming over tomorrow might want to come dressed in blankets, because 52 degrees to some people is very cold. To me, it's quite comfortable. And Gary says, "My mic sounds good, sounds clear." Thank you, Gary, for the feedback. Like I said, it's a brand new mic. I had saw a lot of hype about it. It's the same brand I was using before, but it's more of a fancy one with having the extendable arm. The volume control is right on the mic. I can up and down the volume. So, Kevin Costner and John Connery. Okay. Now you put me on the spot, Curtis. Untouchables. I mean, everyone knows what my favorite movie from the 80s is, The Goons. Untouchables, though. You know what? Now that I have run my intro, I can pull up my second monitor, because before I would have the two monitors going and it would just drown out my sound, so I was unable to hear audio on my intros, which kind of sucked. But I had diagnosed the problem. Mr. Curtis actually helped me with that issue. I did a bunch of YouTube tests the other night. So, alright, let's see what we have. The Untouchables. Let's see. Nope, this is the wrong one. I gotta search again. Untouchables. 1987. Why is this not coming up? Hold on. Sorry, I'm trying to do two things. It does sound much better than yesterday. Yeah, Andrea, I have no idea what happened with my microphone yesterday, but I am glad this one is working good. I mean, can you hear me now? Yes, Gary, I can hear you loud and clear. 1987. Okay, here we go. Found it finally. Here we go. The Untouchables. Okay, so Curtis, it was called The Untouchables, not The Untouchables. I think, why can't I find this movie? But now that I'm looking, I found it. Oh, it's when they played the gangsters, if I'm not mistaken, Curtis. Correct me if I'm wrong. Yes, it's the story about Al Capone and all that. I have seen this. This is actually a very good movie. So, Sean Connery. Sam, good evening. Thanks for popping in the chat. Appreciate the support as always. So, nice to see everybody. But yes, The Untouchables was good. And then, Curtis, if you're still in chat, I did a play in high school. Now we're talking a couple years back. Called The Sting. That came from a movie with Paul Newman and Robert Redford. I was Groves. Who, if you watch the movie The Sting, you don't see Groves. But he is in the play. So, yes, I played a butler in my high school play. I was in, correct me if I'm wrong, 8th grade? Because 7th grade we did Alice in Wonderland. You need to watch the video I sent you. Best Fortnite dub I've ever had. Now, Sam, that's a lot of pressure to put on yourself. Don't disappoint me. So I'm going to say, don't disappoint. So choose your words wisely, sir. So since we're on the absolutely beautiful. Hey, now you're quoting Jim Carrey, so I will have to check it out. So if you want, I can check it out while I'm on stream and give you a live reaction. Also name that movie quote. Bruce Almighty, come on, Sam. Like, what kind of question is that? Beautiful. I am Morgan Freeman from that movie. I'm the voice of God. Go for it. Okay. A lot of pressure, Mr. Simmons. I hope you can handle it. Let's check out Sam's Fortnite dub that he had sent me. Since he's proclaiming to say it's his best win, and this coming from a man who has numerous Fortnite wins. So let's see. Alright, got it on my screen right now. There's no audio, of course. I don't know if I can show it on screen, Sam. Actually, hold on. If you want, let me see if I can do something. I will see if I can save it. Show. Nope, can't do it that way. Save link as. Alright, let's see. Alright, let's see. Downloads. Sam, you're making me do this stuff on my show. Not working, Sam. I'm just gonna. Oh, hold on. Oh, sorry, clicked on the wrong button. Jimmy's streaming Facebook right now. I apologize about that. That's the noise you heard. Because I got Mr. Simmons telling me to check out this video and try to show it on screen. So, nope, can't do it. I'm just gonna watch it, Sam, and you'll see my reaction as I watch it. How's that? Alright, let's do some commentary. Sam's taking the slap juice. Curtis is running side by side with them. Sam's creeping like he always does. Still nothing yet. I see you got the special effects thing going. You got the leaping ability, which is very nice. He's going for it. He's going for the smash. Wow. So you hit a guy with the special, whatever it's called, through a bush, and you kill a guy. Like, you never even saw this guy. Like, how you know he was there? I guess that's what makes it so beautiful, that the guy was hidden and you still nailed him. I mean, it's probably better with the sound effect. Daka Smash. Thank you, Sam. That's what it's called. But you always say you can't hit stuff through trees. This clearly looks like you went right through a tree. So, let's see. Hold on. I got the auto. Hold on. If it pinged him, I knew he was just... Can't see it on the replay. Okay. Fair enough. I give you a free pass for that, but Sam is right through multiple trees. Yeah, coming from the same person who was getting mad a couple weeks ago saying he couldn't hit any shots through trees, leaves, anything like that. So now to do a Dooku smash through a tree, Sam, I will give you, is kind of impressive. But I was kind of waiting for like the whole sound effects of you getting like super pumped about it. So I guess you have learned to contain your excitement, sir. So congrats on the dub. Maybe if I don't do a long show tonight and Curtis is still on, I can hop on and play with you guys for a little bit. I still wanted to put out some content tonight. I know it's a little crazy show, but we're here to have some fun. So since we looked up one 1987 movie, let's look up some more. List of 1987 movies. We got horror movies too. And in case you guys didn't know, the NFL actually went on strike in the 1987 season. So you have the United States Football League first founded in 1987. So, here we go. The top 10 grossing movies in 1987. Number 1, Three Men and a Baby, starring Ted Danson, Steve Guttenberg, and Tom Selleck. They kind of did a spin-off to this movie. I felt... Oh, my phone... Oh, jeez. Andrew's having all sorts of bad luck. I just got a message from him. I won't repeat it on screen, but... Andrew, I'm sorry if you're still watching. I'm sorry. But Three Men and a Baby, I feel like is a kind of a spin-off to a later movie in the 90s called Baby's Day Out, where they kidnap a baby. It's three guys. The baby wind up like torturing them. So Three Men and a Baby, I don't think it's the same premise, but it kind of reminds me of the same thing. Number 2, Fatal Attraction with Michael Douglas, Glenn Close, and Ann Archer. Again, another movie I really haven't seen in a while, so I can't really quote on it. So if anyone's seen Fatal Attraction who's hanging out in the chat tonight, feel free to share it. I mean, like we always say, we love the interaction on this show. Number 3, now, this is the second one of, I think, 3 or 4 movies that came out, and they're absolutely all great movies. Number 3 was Beverly Hills Cop with Eddie Murphy, Judge Redfield, John Ashton, and a whole bunch of other people. The Beverly Hills Cop movies were hysterical. Eddie Murphy as Axel Foley. If you haven't seen any of these movies, I highly, highly recommend you go check them out. So, number 4, this one, another very good movie with the late Robin Williams and Forrest Whitaker in it, Good Morning Vietnam. Good Morning Vietnam is based off in Vietnam, believe it or not. Robin Williams is, I believe, in the army during the movie, without clicking on this. And he just starts a radio station, and people protest by his views and stuff like that, but he becomes so popular within the troops and stuff in the army that like it just builds. And Forrest Whitaker plays like a commanding officer. It's a really good movie. I highly recommend you check it out. I won't give too much away. Number 5, you have Moonstruck with Cher, Nicolas Cage, a couple other people I never heard of, but don't think I've ever seen this one, but I know there's a lot of people that like Cher, so I won't talk bad about it, especially since I haven't seen it. Number 6 is the movie Mr. Curtis brought up to our attention, The Untouchables. And it had Kevin Costner, Sean Connery, Andy Garcia, and Robert De Niro. You've never seen Beverly Hills Cop, Sam. That surprises me. I highly recommend you go out and check those out. I highly recommend it. My phone froze when I'm back. Andrea, welcome back. Spaceballs also came out in 87. Yes, Curtis, but that did not make the top 10, believe it or not. So, after The Untouchables, we have The Secret of Success with Michael J. Fox, Helen Slater, Richard Jordan, and Margaret Whitten. Never heard this one, so again, if you have in chat, please feel free to share. Number 8 was Stakeout with Richard Dreyfuss, Amelia Estevez, Madeline Stowe, and Aidan Quinn. Don't think I've heard of that one. Number 9, one of my favorite movies. I know a lot of people like this movie, Lethal Weapon, the original. Mel Gibson with Danny Glover. Gary Busey has a role. Lethal Weapon, if you can actually see over my shoulder, I'm going to try to point without messing myself up, is actually on my wall. Right where my finger's pointing next to Die Hard is the original Lethal Weapon movie poster. I can watch Lethal Weapon nonstop. Never seen Lethal Weapon? Oh, Sam, man, me and you going to have to talk, buddy. We're going to have to talk, bud. Come on. We got to get on the same page, Sam. Kind of highly disappointed you've never seen either Beverly Hills Cop or Lethal Weapon. Sam, I might have to disown you. Just say it. Maybe at the wedding. Don't tempt me. I will bring you that movie. And Curtis says Lethal Weapon is one of my favorite movies. Curtis, me and you are now best friends. Sam, you're on the back burner. I'm sorry. So, I've never seen it neither, so good thing I'm not on the show. Andrew, if you were still here, we would have found some common ground to talk about. We always do. But Lethal Weapon is a must. Yes, Sam, cry your eyes out because Curtis is now my new best friend. Curtis, welcome to my best friends. So, number 10 is The Witches of Eastwick. It says starring Jack Nicholson, Cher, Susan Sarandon, and Michelle Pfeiffer. So I'm guessing that Cher, Susan Sarandon, and Michelle Pfeiffer all play witches. So on my watch list now. Andrea, when you watch it, come back and talk. I want to hear your honest feedback how to watch it. Hey, you can take back your wedding invitation, Sam. I'm just saying, if you want to sit here and say that you've never watched one of my favorite movies, and I have somebody else who says they have, I'm going to take their side. Sorry. But let's see, what else do we have? I'm looking now. They have it in alphabetical order, so I'm not gonna obviously read the whole entire list because there's probably close to about 300 movies on this list. So I'm just gonna point out ones that look familiar. Yeah, there you go, Sam. You still have Andrea as your best friend. You're good. You got. Let's see. The original Bates Motel. I mean, made for TV spinoff of Psycho. I mean, you know me and my horror movies, like I mentioned, Beverly Hills Cop 2. Let's see. Can't Buy Me Love. Never heard of that one. Yeah, you see, Andrea at least makes you feel better. That's all I'm gonna say. Creep Show 2. If you're a horror fan, that was popular back in the 80s. What else do we have? Evil Dead 2. Again, it's a sequel from the original Evil Dead movies that came out in 87. Again, highly popular. Here you go. One that people should know what it is. If they don't, I apologize in advance. Full Metal Jacket. It was directed by Stanley Kubrick, and that also came out in 1987. A very controversial movie at best, but also very funny. So if you, again, have yet to see Full Metal Jacket, yep, seen it. Actually, I'm glad someone's seen Full Metal Jacket. Andrea is a very bizarre, comedic, in a way, type movie. There's a lot of famous quotes that come from that movie. So, something I definitely highly recommend you check out. Great movie. Thank you. Oh, a new name in the chat. Gina Eckerson Hibbs. Welcome into the show. Thanks for tuning in tonight. We're talking about movies that came out in the year 1987 in honor of me. I turned 36 years young tomorrow. So, that makes me born in 1987. So, my other host, Andrea, is supposed to be on here tonight, having discussed it with me, but she had something come up, so she's looking in the chat instead. But I'm going for a list of all the movies that came out in 1987. So if there's anything that you can recall, Gina, you're more than welcome to put it in the chat and let us know. Welcome in. I had mentioned Good Morning Vietnam. A lot of war movies came out that year. Like I'm looking at like Hamburger Hill, the Hannah Hilton, because 87 was like an anniversary with the Vietnam War, so a lot of these movies came out after the fact that the Vietnam War ended and stuff like that. Here's another one of my favorites, Harry and the Hendersons. It had John Lithgow, pretty much the only old name. Thank you, Mr. Simmons. Good morning, Vietnam, to you too. But Harry and the Hendersons came out in 1987. If you haven't seen Harry and the Hendersons, that movie is probably by far one of the funniest movies of that time period. I worked at Blockbuster with one, not in the 80s, but still no movies. Awesome. It's good to know that we have another movie enthusiast in the chat. Gina, Friday night is our usual Friday night movie night discussion, so any knowledge you have, feel free to share. We love having people share stuff in the chat. So, oh, Sam's heard of Harry and the Hendersons, but he's never watched Lethal Weapon. Come on, Mr. Simmons, get with the program. And Curtis says Harry and the Hendersons was one of my favorite movies as a kid. Curtis, I grew up in the 90s, obviously, but I like to go back and watch the older movies, and Harry and the Hendersons, for its time period, was definitely far more advanced than most of the movies were. So, I can still watch that movie to this day. And Andrea says, I think I've seen Harry. Andrea, if you haven't, you're missing out. That's one you can watch with the kids. It's a family movie, I promise. What else do we have? Never heard of this one. I just like the name of it. It was a made-for-TV movie. It's called A Hobo's Christmas. I don't know about it. Not going to click on it, but that just makes me laugh. Very cute movie. Are we talking about Harry and the Hendersons or A Hobo's Christmas? Because if Harry and the Hendersons is what you're talking about, I agree it was a very cute movie. Okay, just making sure, Gina. Thank you for clarifying that. I know there's sometimes a slight delay with the stream. I'm still trying to figure out exactly how many second delay there is. So, what else have we have? So this one's I wouldn't say like a biography type movie, but it's actually a very good movie that I watched personally in music class. It's called La Bamba. It's the story of Richie Valens. It takes a little bit to type too. Fair enough. Yeah, I completely understand. So, yeah, I understand. I have a friend of mine who says you can't type that fast as fast as we talk. So, yes. So, if anyone has seen La Bamba, you ask me, it's a very good story. It's like I said, it's a story about Richie Valens, and then later in the movie, you see like the last act was him, the Big Bopper, and all that, and then sadly how we tragically lost all of them, fine musicians, in the plane crash. But La Bamba is definitely one to check out. As Gina has stated, La Bamba was indeed an excellent movie to watch. So, R.I.P. to Richie Valens and all the ones we lost on that plane crash, but that movie sums up their life perfectly. Hey, we got the background movie guy. What's up, Jason? Thanks for popping out. The Lost Boys did come out in 1987. I will get to that in a couple minutes, sir. Nice to see you. Thanks for popping in the chat. Yes, Lou Diamond, Philip, Essa Morez, Rosanna De Santo, Elizabeth Pena, Joe Partino was in this. So, yes, Lou Diamond was... I don't know. I think he plays Richie in that movie, if I'm not mistaken. I would have to look more, click on the link and go more into it. I mentioned Lethal Weapon already. What else have we have? Here you go. This is for background movie guy. My friend Jason's in the chat watching. The Lost Boys did come out in 1987, and everyone who knows that movie just knows the story of it. It is a loaded cast of kids that basically grew up in the 80s and took off, like Amelia Estevez, Keith Sutherland, Corey Friedman, who plays Mouth in the Goonies, Corey Haim. Like, there's so many good people in the Lost Boys that I'm shocked it did not make the top 10 grossing movies of that year. Because it's a very well-known film, and a lot of people still refer it to this day. So, strolling down the list a little bit. Another one that a lot of people probably haven't seen before. I've been fortunate enough to watch it at least once because of my brother-in-law, The Monster Squad. I believe this was remade in the late 90s, early 2000s. The Monster Squad is another very good movie to go back and watch. I haven't watched in a while, so it's hard to really give you an example of what The Monster Squad is. But again, highly recommend that movie. Wolfman Has Nads. Is that a name of a movie? Or is that in the Monsters? I think that's from the Monster Squad, if I'm not mistaken. So please correct me if I'm wrong. What else do we have? Another one that people might have seen. Okay. So Monster School. I thought so, Gina. Like I said, it's been a while since I watched that movie, so it's nice to have someone who can correct me when I'm wrong in the chat. So another one, people. I lost my train of thought. There you go. So there's two I'm going to mention. A Nightmare on Elm Street 3 came out in 1987. Robert Englund replaces his role as Freddy Krueger. So, that was probably a really good movie. It's the second of a series. And then the one that caught my attention was a movie called No Way Out. So it's a remake of the 1950 film. It has Kevin Costner, Gene Hackman, Sean Long, Will Patton. So No Way Out was probably another real popular movie just based off that cast. So what else do we have? Overboard. How can you forget Overboard with Woody Allen and Kurt Russell? Like, this is a classic comedy movie. And I actually, if I'm not mistaken, I own it. I haven't watched it in a while, but Overboard was hysterical. So, yes. Like Gina says, it's a very funny movie to watch. So, if you haven't seen Overboard, definitely I would recommend checking it out. Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. Another absolute classic John Hughes movie. Yeah, we have both versions. Oh, cool. I didn't know they made a second version of Overboard, but that's good to know that they have two versions. So, like I was saying, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. If you haven't watched it, it's a classic Steve Martin and John Candy movie. Definitely should have been in the top 10 movie of that year. I don't know why it wasn't. John Hughes was a very popular director in the 80s. I get that. But he had some really good classic movies in the 80s. So if you haven't seen Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, I highly, 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 highly recommend it. Especially if you're any John Candy movie is awesome. Yes. Great movie for Thanksgiving Day. Yes. Hey, it's Cycling with Doc on Twitch. How you doing, Doc? Nice to see you. Thanks for popping in the show tonight. We're just talking. I don't know how long you've been listening, but we're just going over a bunch of movies in 1987 in honor of me, given the fact I turned 36 years young tomorrow. So we're just making Mr. Knast feel old and talking about movies that came out in 1987. Looking for a bit. Looking is greatly appreciated, Doc. You know how that is. I hope your cycle ride went well. I hope you feel better. So thank you for the birthday wishes. People always forget my birthday, but I always tell them, if you remember your space history, then you remember my birthday. I was born 1 year to the day of the Challenger explosion. Unfortunately, we lost a lot of good people that day, but that's how I tell people to remember my birthday, because I was born almost 1 year to the exact time and obviously the date that it happened. It's a very tragic incident in our country's history, given the fact that it was Christy McCullough's dream to go up into space, and it tragically and sadly ended 72 seconds after takeoff. And to this day, they really never had any answers about it, and it's a shame. We lost 7 people that day. So, Predator, I think I saw that on here somewhere. Yes, it's coming up, Jason. I didn't forget about it. One of my favorite series, there's 6 of them actually, Police Academy 4, Citizens on Patrol. Now, the first 3 Police Academy movies came out, I think, 84, 85, and 86. So, like, they had a movie come out almost every year for the later part of the 1980s. And all of the Police Academy movies are classics. I mean, if you want to laugh hysterically, Steve Guttenberg, Michael Winslow with the voiceovers, just absolutely amazing. The later ones were awful, but the earlier ones were so good. I would say after 4, Gina, they got really bad. 1, 2, 3, and 4 were good. 5 and 6, they were hit or miss. So I could see why you said they were awful. So I would agree to disagree. But That's what we love about here. Everybody has their opinion. So if there's a movie that you don't like that I mentioned, please feel free. I mean, I don't get offended. I promise. And then Mr. Jason, the background movie guy on YouTube, mentioned Predator with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Carl Weathers, Jesse Ventura. This was the first of 5 movies that they made about with the movie Predator. Again, it's been a while since I've seen it, but when you can make 5 movies out of one, there you go. She says Bobcat was the best. Agree. What else do we have? I'm just looking at A Return to Salem's Lot. So, I'm guessing this was a sequel to the original Salem's Lot. So, I haven't seen either of these movies in a while, but they're really good Stephen King books. I will say that. The sequel to Revenge of the Nerds came out that year. Revenge of the Nerds 2, Nerds in Paradise. Again, some people didn't like the first one because it was a little bit too cheesy, but if you ask me, the Revenge of the Nerds were really good, funny movies as well. One of my favorites, here you go. The original RoboCop came out in 1987. That was made by the company Orion. Cheesy is good, yes. Peter Waller, Nancy Allen, Kurtwood Smith as a villain. Doc, if you're still listening in the chat, we have quoted RoboCop plenty of times in your stream. But the quote I was saying all day yesterday at work about this movie, because it's funny to me, Kurtwood Smith plays a very good villain in this movie. You don't expect it from an actor like Kurtwood Smith, but he does. And his character's name in RoboCop was Clarence Barniger. And then one of his friends gets shot in the leg in the shootout in the van or whatever. And he looks at him, hey, and he just plain out says, "Bobby, I think you can fly," and he throws him out of the van. Like, there goes Bobby. Like, awesome. Second RoboCop was good. I mean, third one, again, it was hit or miss. It was okay. The one guy, if you ask me, reminds me of George Clooney. It wasn't him, but this guy's like a spitting image of him. And then they tried to remake this in 2014, and they did an absolutely horrible job with it. I know some people may disagree with that comment, but I love the original RoboCop. The original RoboCop was a great movie. I'm happy they did the second one. After that, it's debatable if they should have done the third and the remake, which will be another fun segment one time where we talk about original movies compared to remakes. So, remakes usually aren't as good. Gina, I 110% agree. There are some remakes that have been good, but then there's also remakes that shouldn't have been done. Like the one I'm very scared about coming out soon is Lethal Weapon 5. Now, many of you who know, this is going to be 20, almost, 15, 16 years by the time the 5th one comes out since Lethal Weapon 4. And apparently a lot of the original cast is coming back. I just don't see how. You got Mel Gibson coming back, Rene Russo's coming back, Danny Glover. I think Joe Pesci has a cameo in it. But Richard Donner, who is a famous director from the 80s, as we all know, Lethal Weapon, Goonies, to just name a couple movies, spoke with Mel Gibson personally before unfortunately passing away, and he basically gave the keys to Mel Gibson and said, "I want you to direct number 5. So how Lethal Weapon 5 pans out will be a wait and see type thing. I'm not holding my breath. Even 4 got a little bit cheesy for me, but the first 3 Lethal Weapons, all classics. So if you haven't seen Lethal Weapon like Mr. Simmons, I highly recommend you go check him out. So what else we have? Another Arnold Schwarzenegger movie. Looks like it's called The Running Man with Arnold Schwarzenegger, Richard Dawson, and it was from a Stephen King novel remake of a 1963 movie. So if anyone's seen The Running Man, let me know. I mean, Arnold was popular in the late 80s, so that doesn't surprise me to see his name on top of the casting list for it. I was going to say it was a remake. Yes. Yes, Gina, according to the website I'm looking at, The Running Man was a remake of a 1963 movie. It was pretty good. Now, when you say pretty good, is it a movie I should add to a watch list if I have it, or I could get away with not seeing it? Let me know. We already mentioned The Secret of Success. Now, here's a very interesting one that... Okay, see it. I will check it out, and I will let you know what I think, Miss Gina. Here's one that many people probably don't know. I watched the original. I didn't know they made a sequel to it. And it's called Silent Night, Deadly Night. So those who have heard or seen of it, Silent Night, Deadly Night takes place on Christmas Eve. And it jumps all over the place, but it's actually a very good slasher type movie that came out around Christmas. And to know that they made a sequel that came out in 1987, I think the first one came out in 1984. So it took a couple years, I guess, for a sequel. But I might have to check it out based off the fact that I've seen the first one. So, see how that one goes. I'm not holding my breath, though, because a lot of people didn't like the original Silent Night, Deadly Night. So, we will see. What else we have? Now, here's one. Again, it doesn't have a comment next to it, so I don't know if it's an original of a remake or if the remake is from the original, but The Stepfather. Everyone knows that they came out with a Stepfather movie, good suspense movie. I want to say, God, 2012 or 2013. I forget exactly who's in the remake, but to see The Stepfather again come out in 1987 makes me think that it was a remake of the original. So I can't quote on it, but I guess I gotta look more into it. What else do we have? Oh, here's one that people will know. Summer School. Summer School, another absolute classic movie of its time period. It had Mark Hamill and Christy Allen plays a high school student in it. But Summer School, again, very comedic relief for that time period. I have seen it a couple times. So, again, if you haven't, I would probably give it a solid 7 out of 10 on the comedy scale. It's a really good, laid-back, funny movie that you could just sit back and enjoy. So, definitely want to check that one out. What else we have? We have Tremorless, no. I mentioned Three Men and a Baby already. One that people probably also know, Throw Mama from the Train. Billy Crystal, Danny DeVito, Ann Ramsey, and a list of other people. I think I've seen this once. Like, again, I watch so many movies that it's hard to keep track of what I have seen and haven't seen. But this title sounds really familiar, especially with seeing Billy Crystal and Danny DeVito being the lead two people on the bill, you can say. So, what else we have? I thought that one was just okay. I mean, yeah, I could see why people would think it was just okay. So, yeah, I could go with that. What else do we have? Only other one that people might know of is Whitewater Summer with Kevin Bacon and Sean Astin. It's a drama movie. Again, I don't think I've seen it, but I've heard of it. So, we will see. Now, I can also click on... Alright, here we go. I know this is... I'm looking at a list of the #1 films at the box office based off when they were released. So the first 2 weeks of the new year in 1987 went to The Golden Child. Never heard of that. Followed by Critical Condition. Again, never really heard of it. I don't know how I missed this one on the list, but for the whole entire month of February, the #1 movie in the movie theater was Platoon. Now, if you haven't seen Platoon, again, a very comedic relief military movie, but one that is must see. So, followed by Platoon, you had Nightmare on Elm Street 3 taking the reins for 1 week. Then Lethal Weapon taking over for the next 3 weeks. Blind Date, never heard of that. Police Academy 4 led first week of April 1987 with 8.4 million. Oh, come on, go away. Sorry, I can't say it. Secret of Success was #1 in the box office for, 5 consecutive weeks. Ishtar, never heard of that. Blind Date was cute. While opening weekend in 1987, Gina, it grossed $7.5 million. So I guess I gotta go back and check that out. Nothing wrong with a good chick flick. Beverly Hills Cop opened on a 4-day weekend on Memorial Day, 1987, grossing over $33 million. It broke Rambo's First Blood Part 2's record of $25.51 million for highest weekend debut for an R-rated movie. Wow. So I guess people are excited for the sequel. I mean, I can't blame them. Axel Foley, gotta love it. Predator was #1 June 14th of 1987, grossing over $12 million. What else do we have? Revenge of the Nerds, July 12th opened and grossed in $7.9 million. RoboCop ended July, grossing over $14.3 million in 2 weeks at #1. Wow. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 straight weeks. Fatal Attraction was #1 from September 21st all the way to November 8th of 1987. So that's pretty impressive. What else do we have? The Running Man grossed over $12.7 million. 2 weeks in November 1987. 3 Men and a Baby finished out November, early December, grossing 18.7. Sorry. What else do we have? Throw Mama from the Train was #1 for 1 week. What would that be? The second week in December with $7.3 million. So I would say the biggest winner in the box office that year, opening week wise, would probably have to be Fatal Attraction. I might have to go back and rewatch this. I mean, it seems so familiar. It was based on a short film, Diversion. So that movie was creepy. Then if it was creepy, Gina, then it's a movie for me. So I will have to go back and rewatch it. Alright, so now she stalks him, boils his bunny. That is kind of creepy, I'm not gonna lie. I might have nightmares watching that type of movie. So based off this next list is based off calendar gross for the year 1987. So #1, Beverly Hills Cop grossed $153.6 million. Wow. Second, we have Platoon grossing $136.7 million. Fatal Attraction coming in #3 at $125.9 million. Then it's a severe drop off from 9 digits down to 8. Number 4 comes in the Untouchables at 76.2 million. Three Men and a Baby comes in 70.8. The Secret of Success at 66.9. Stakeout 65.6. Lethal Weapon, one of my favorite movies again, 65.2. So not that far off of Stakeout, which is good to know. Witches of Eastwick at 63.7. And last but not least, number 10 on the list, Predator grossed in 59.7 million. So I enjoyed Stakeout. I will have to go another movie I will have to go back and revisit. I might have watched it once or twice in the day, but it probably has been a while since I've watched it. As I fix my mic, sorry about that. If you guys can still hear me alright, let me know. What we got? The NU releases, the domestic clips. So I'm guessing this is all the same list I just read. I'm not gonna go back the same list. It's pretty much the same as I just read. Just movies are in a different order. So, and then highest grossing movies by MPAA rating. So that, if you don't know what the MPAA rating is, that basically just classifies movies as a G, PG, PG-13, rated R, and sometimes, if you're lucky, NC-17. On this list, they only give you G, PG, PG-13, and rated R. So the highest grossing G movie that year was Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. It was a 1987 reissue. So I don't know if you talked about this one, but I liked this one as a kid as well. Inner Space. I did not, Curtis. If you give me 1 second, I will look it up and we can talk about it. So don't go anywhere. The highest grossing PG movie, Three Men and a Baby. PG-13 was The Secret of My Success. And the highest grossing rated R movie, Miss Gina's creepiest movie in 1987, Fatal Attraction. So I'm going to go see if I can find the movie that Curtis is talking about real quick. Let me just... Inner Space. Let's see. It's an American sci-fi science fiction comedy directed by Joe Dante, produced by Michael Fan. Hey, it was a Steven Spielberg movie. There you go, Curtis. I can see why you like this. It stars Dennis Quaid, Martin Short, Meg Ryan, and Richard Picardio. In San Francisco, down on his luck. I looked at a couple of my favorite, but... Well, Gina, please share what your favorite movies in 1985 and 86 are. You're more than welcome to share. Inner Space was hysterical. I will have to go back and check this out. I feel like I haven't seen this. So, Curtis, you might have my movie choice of the night. So, thank you. Okay, I absolutely love Dennis Quaid movies. All his movies are relatively good. Who else we have in it? Meg Ryan, she's probably young in this movie. Martin Short is another good actor. So, yeah, I would definitely have to check this out. Better Off Dead than One Crazy Summer. One Crazy Summer sounds familiar. Let me see. One Crazy Summer. Oh, a romantic comedy. You got me sold already, Gina. Who we got right there? John Cusack, Demi Moore, Bobcat Goldthwait. And it was directed by Savage Steve Holland. Huh. I'm going to have to check this one out too, Gina. I will give you a full status report next time we do Friday Night Movie Night. I mean, John Cusack alone back in the 80s was great. And then Demi Moore, they were a bit campy. A bit campy. Can you explain to me what a bit campy means? Because now this was filmed up in Cape Cod, Hyannis West Elementary. So this pays up. Funny but stupid. Hey, funny, stupid, funny is my kind of movie, genius. So I will definitely check them out for sure. So, in spite of the director's flair for zany humor, this film is just absurd. Patrick Lamb of the Chicago Reader found it not a bad film, and certainly more polished than Better Off Dead. And it scored, even though we don't go based off Rotten Tomatoes ratings in this show, it only scored a 45%, which we all know Rotten Tomatoes is not the key source for movie aspects. I feel if you want to watch a movie, so you watch it and you judge it for yourself. You would ever heard the line, I want my $2 is from Better Off Dead. I have heard that quote. It's been a while, but I have heard of it. Better Off Dead. Let's see. It's from Adventures in Babysitting. I will look up that movie in a second, Curtis. I'm currently looking up Better Off Dead for Miss Gina. It is an American black comedy written by, again, Savage Steve Holland. Hey, John Cusack's in this one too. Jeez. Talk about someone being popular in a short time span. But I've noticed that about movies and directors back in the day. Like sometimes you would have actors in the same type of in the same movies that is directed by the same director who they are used to working with. So to see Savage Steve Holland and then the first one name on the list, John Cusack, that just tells me that they had a good relationship back in the day. So that's not always the case, I know, but I just kind of get that vibe with the later movies that sometimes a certain actor will only work with a certain director. So if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm right, I guess I'm right. But in the town of Greendale, okay, I'm just gonna skip down to the bottom. I'm not gonna read all this out loud, but David Argento, Diane Franklin, Kim Doherty, Curtis Armstrong's in this one too. So again, same director, same actor from the other one. And this was shot in Alta, Bridgeton, and Snowbird in Utah. Hey, I know someone from Utah. I won't say who, but that's kind of funny. It holds a approval rating of 77% on Rotten Tomatoes. Again, we don't really base our movies off of Rotten Tomatoes in here, but to know it scored 77 means it must be pretty good. So, Better Off Dead is an anarchic mix of black humor and surreal comedy anchored by John Cusack's Winsome. So, a good low-budget film. My brother and I loved it as kids with rad about BMX racing. Miss Gina, I gotta say, you're giving me quite the homework to do. Luckily, I'm off from work for a couple days, so I'm gonna have to write some of these movies down and check them out. I will give you a full status report once I finish all these movies. But some of these look really interesting. So I know they always say some older movies don't hold up to today's standards, but if you ask me, movies were made a lot differently back then compared to what they are nowadays. So I might also be wrong with that statement, and I apologize if I am, but that's how I feel. Alright, Curtis's movie's turn. Adventures. Start with Running Man. I will do just that. Adventures in... Okay, got it, Curtis. Adventures in Babysitting. So, this movie is also known as A Night on the Town in certain countries. So, weird that a movie has multiple titles, but it doesn't surprise me. Written by David Simpkins and directed by Chris Columbus, not the one that founded our country. and is the director of the review. It stars Elizabeth Shrew, Keith Coglan, Anthony Rapp, Mia Bruton. Huh. Adventures in Babysitting. 17. Who else is in this? Anyone else I can recognize? There's a guy in this movie named Southside Johnny as a band leader at a frat party. Interesting. So let's see. Reception, here we go. Holds a 70% rating on Rotten Tomatoes based off 43 reviews. So this one also scored pretty good with an average rating of 6.4 out of 10. See, now that's the type of rating that I prefer to do. 1 out of 10. Like, I mean, sure, you can scale a movie 1 out of 100%, but I feel like you get a more understanding and a better rating when you just do a simple 1 through 10 rating. So, a general warm-hearting romp. He praises the performance of the young cast, earnestly appealing, but criticizes the movie for a lack of social awareness. So, Mannequin. I think I've heard Mannequin sounds really familiar as well. I'll pull that one up real quick for you. Let me see. 1987. This one was directed by Michael Gadiby. I think I'm pronouncing that one right. So it's Andrew McCarthy, Kim Terkel, Estelle Getty, G.W. Bailey. Something tells me I've seen this one too. Again, I watch so many movies, it's hard to keep track of what I have and have not watched these days. I mean, I am getting a little bit older. My mind's starting to slip, but hey, doing my best. We got Andrew McCarthy as Jonathan Switzer. Part of it was filmed in Philly. Okay, I could see that, yeah, because it's in Philadelphia Mayor, so it doesn't say exactly where at in Philly. Was filmed in the former garden between the Hotel Hershey, so you can tell this movie was filmed out in Hershey, Pennsylvania. Okay, here you go. John Wanamaker's in Philly, now Macy's. Okay, John Wanamaker's. There you go. I think I said that right. John Wanamaker's. So yeah, it looks like a movie that was filmed mostly in the state of Pennsylvania, which is pretty cool. You always like seeing movies that are filmed in your like backyard, you can say. Like, sure, maybe from New Jersey, there have been movies filmed in and around this area, but a lot of movies, big name movies, will one stay in the city of Philadelphia or like Pittsburgh or something like that. But it's nice when you see like smaller cities getting a lot of credit. So hopefully in the future, there's some movies that want to venture over the bridge and hey, be filmed in South Jersey. I'm all for that too. Or we could actually make our own movie if you want. So there you go. We can make a movie within a movie. I like that idea. Critical response. So on Rotten Tomatoes, the film has an average rating of 20% and got an average rating of 3.9 out of 10. Again, you can't always judge a movie based off its rating, so that's pretty abnormally low. But then if you keep reading in it, audience surveyed by CinemaScore, which is another awesome source to get your movie scores, gave the film a B+ on a scale of A to F. So I would look this up again. Miss Gina, you're gonna have me filling up a whole notebook with a list of movies. So I will add this movie to the list, and I will check it out. So give me a couple weeks to get through this list, but I will get it done. I promise. Curtis says Masters of the Universe. Now this one sounds awfully familiar as well. Let's see. Masters of the Universe. That's what happens when you work at Blockbuster. Well, apparently I found the wrong job. I've been working at Wegmans now for 17 years. I'm happy for my job, proud of my job. So, I mean, some of my friends from work pop in my show and support me once in a while. So, yeah, they'll tell you I'm a very hardworking, proud to be where I'm at. It's gotten me a lot in my life. So, maybe if Blockbuster is still around, I could pick up a part-time job. I'd be like Kenny from the movie Scream. If you ever watched the original Scream, Kenny knows all about his movies. So, I guess you could refer me to it as that. Gary says that's right, yes. Gary, who's also looking in the chat, is my spokesperson at Wegmans now. I don't know if he knows that or not. But Gary, in case you haven't found out, you're my spokesperson for Wegmans. So, Masters of the Universe was directed by Gary Godin. It stars Dolph Lundgren, Frank Leggett, Courtney Cox is in this movie. Wow. She must be someone pretty young in this movie, I would say. Huh. Again, not going to go through the whole plot because it's about like 8 paragraphs. The time I've known you, John, just talking here. Curtis, thank you for the kind words. That is very nice of you to say. Yes, I heard it 20 times, laugh out loud. Well, good. There's 21 for you, Gary. Wow, good. I keep reading your comment, Curtis. That means an awful lot to me. I mean, I try to be as patient as I can. I'm a calm soul. We all get heated at times, but at the end of the day, life happens. I mean, no one's perfect. I'm not perfect. I just do my best. I get by every day. I try to keep an equal mindset and just roll with the punches. You gotta do. But, yeah. Thanks again for your kind words, Curtis. If I start tearing up, it's your fault. I won't, I promise. But, you know what I mean. Let's see. Where's the reception at? Critical response. Masters of the Universe received a negative reviews from its critics, holding a 22% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. You don't live forever. You don't know when you're gonna go. Amen to that, Curtis. I'm going, you know what? Where's that at? I'm looking at my own stream. So, Curtis, you get a heart for that comment. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that. You have no idea. Holds a 22% on Rotten Tomatoes based on 22 reviews. The metric scale, a metric critic, which is another very good film thing. That Rotten Tomatoes, I don't believe it. Curtis, a lot of people have said that Rotten Tomatoes over the years with the movie ratings have gotten really bad, so I don't blame you for saying you don't believe it. So, yes, you can't always judge a movie based off Rotten Tomatoes. Mike Russo would agree with that statement. So, if you ask Mike, he hates Rotten Tomatoes. A lot of people do. A lot of people think they're a biased group of people because there's some movies that they rate really high that I have thought are absolute trash. So, until you watch a movie for yourself, you can't really judge a movie, in my opinion. What else do we have, though? A weighted average score of 35 out of 100. Walter Goodman. If you like the toy, you'll love the movie. I didn't know that. I didn't know there was a toy based off this. I will have to go back and see what the toy looks like. I mean, I might have had one as a kid. Monster Squad was really good that time period, Curtis. Yes, I can also bring that one up. Miss Gina had one called Quirks that she wanted me to. Oh no, that wasn't a movie. Let's see. I don't know if Gina's still in the chat or not, but the only quirks I'm seeing was a film that came out in 1994 by Kevin Smith. So I'm thinking she's referring to that when she said, when we were talking about Blockbuster. So I'm going to hold off on that, but I will pull up Monster Squad. Cause I know that for sure came out in 87, because I had watched that. The Monster Squad. Yes, I have seen this one. I actually might still own it somewhere. It was directed by Fred Decker, written by and directed by Decker and Shane Black, who met as classmates at UCLA. So if you didn't know that one, there you go. We got Andre Glowin, Duncan Rager, Tom Newman. Sometimes when you look on these movies, like, there's well-known actors who don't really have a big starring role. They're more of that, like, back scene type person. So you don't know who you might see in a movie. Detroit is He-Man. I will look that up, Curtis. I will definitely check that out. Oh, here you go. Curtis, in case you didn't know, 2008 producer Rob Cohen said that the film rights were back with Paramount and there were plans to remake the film. However, he had no desire to direct it. And then 2014 Platform Dunes producers, by the power of Grayskull, I have the power. That must be a reference to a movie, I'm guessing. I have the power too, so let's see. But yeah, as of He-Man, okay. I thought we were talking about the story. I was just double checking. Thanks for the clarification. I mean, it's kind of tough going back and forth between reading one screen and then coming back, jumping over here. Keeping my eye on the comments so I don't ignore you guys. Again, I'm used to having co-hosts and stuff. That's a quote from the He-Man Masters of the Universe. Got it. Thanks for the clarification, guys. I appreciate it. So, what was I looking for? Reception. Here we go. Alright, the first time I've seen this expression all night, and everybody who knows what this means, then you know it's very true. Cult following. Monster Squad is one of the many movies nowadays that has what they call a cult following. Those who don't know what a cult following is a group of people who like obsessed with this movie. So, like I know the movie I love and enjoy so much, The Goonies, has a hardcore cult following to the point that everybody tracks out to Astoria, Oregon, where that movie was filmed, to this day, to see, like, the actual Goonies house, the neighborhood, and try to reenact several scenes of that movie. So, if your movie has a cult following, it means that you have a very wide range of fans who still, to this day, obsess over this movie. So, those two words, in my opinion, are great to see. So, a review aggregator for Rotten Tomatoes gave it. I have the Goonies as my background on my computer. Gina, you're one of my new best friends. I absolutely adore the Goonies. If you look over my shoulder, right underneath that Hollywood sign, with my finger, that is the Goonies movie poster. See, right where my finger is. I live, die, and sleep the Goonies. So there was a joke a couple months back when we did just specifically the Goonies. People wanted me to do the Truffle Shuffle on the show. I'm not going to do it, but it was actually very humorous that people were trying to get me to do the Truffle Shuffle. So you can go back. Geez, you probably have to go back till, I want to say September, with this channel, and you could actually watch. We did a Friday night movie night specifically just on the Goonies. It was a great conversation. It was hysterical. And like I said, they tried to get me to do the Truffle Shuffle, and I would not do it. But it's still a must watch. I actually just watched that in Spaceballs. So, again, I'm not a Star Wars person, so it's kind of funny to hear this, but I absolutely love the movie Spaceballs. Spaceballs is a hysterical movie. It's a corrupt movie, but it is a great movie. So, The Goonies and Spaceballs is two good classics. Gary, don't even start. I'm going to ignore any comments about me doing the truffle shuffle. I'm not doing them. And I got Mr. Trey dropping fire. Good evening, Trey. Thanks for popping in tonight. This is one of my favorite movies, Over the Top. The Monster Squad movie, I could see, yeah, it got decent ratings. A fun 80s adventure with a slightly scary twist. So that you can definitely say the Monster Squad was up there. So I think Small Soldiers. I know that one didn't come out in '87, but I will bring that one up anyway because I loved this movie as a kid. It's a good comic relief movie. You can't go wrong with Tommy Lee Jones playing an action figure. Did you watch Pootie Tang yet? I have not, Trey. Can you please describe in my chat what Pootie Tang is? Unless you're just trolling me and having fun. And then if that's the case, thank you very much. But yes, Small Soldiers was a great movie. Growing up as a kid, like it had a cast to it. I mean, I just kind of have to watch it. It's not easy to describe. Fair enough, Trey. I will take your word for it. I will look it up. I have a long list of movies that Miss Gina in the chat has provided with me tonight, so I will add your bizarre movie, I guess you could say, to the list. Total Recall. Now, Matt, if we're talking about the original Total Recall, I'm all for it. The remake Total Recall, not so much. Now, if you want to talk about the 1990 version of Total Recall, you came to the right place. Because, it didn't come out in 1987, but I'll give you a slide since you're just joining in. I appreciate you popping in tonight. But Total Recall back then was awesome. Arnold Schwarzenegger, the original Total Recall, it was good. The remake sucked. Curtis, exactly. Thank you for. I'm gonna pin this so people can see it for a second. I know my chat is a little delayed, but Curtis is spot on. The original Total Recall, awesome movie. The remake, but yes, I could watch the original Total Recall nonstop. Like between, like I said, Arnold Schwarzenegger in it, Sharon Stone playing his like crazy deranged corrupt wife, Rachel Tickon as the other girl in the movie. I forget exactly how to describe her character. Michael Ironside as a villain, awesome. Like it just makes you think, like, for when this movie time period came out, the early '90s, like, was this how life was actually going to be, where we have to live on a planet like Mars or something like that? So, Over the Top main character. Okay, so Over the Top is the name of the movie you want me to look up. Got it. Give me 1 second. I will look that up now. Over the Top. Okay, got it right here for you, Curtis. It is an American sports drama starring Sylvester Stallone. A Sylvester Stallone movie dealing with sports and not called Rocky? What? And he ain't a director or nothing? Wow. Who else we have in there? Robert Loggy, sorry. Terry Funk. It was an arm wrestling movie. Very interesting. I mean, if it's the Terry Funk I'm thinking about, Curtis, correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not trying to click on too many links. I don't want to mess my show up. But is that Terry Funk, the old wrestler? Or is that somebody different? I'll wait a second so I can see Curtis's response. When you say arm wrestling movie, it makes me think it is the original hardcore legend himself, Terry Funk the wrestler. So I don't want to be too quiet because people tend to lose track. But yeah, this had Kenny Loggins on the soundtrack. Sign me up. It scored a 32% on Rotten Tomatoes, an average of 4.7 out of 10. But again, CineScore, which is based off the audience who's seen this movie, gave it a B plus on a scale of A plus to F. So B plus is pretty good, and the poster for it looks pretty badass. I'm not gonna lie. So Judge Dredd is another old Sylvester Stallone movie. I think that came out 2002. Let me see. Hold on. Judge Dredd, 1995. There we go. It's an American science action film based on the 2080 comics character of the same name. Directed by Danny Cannon. And also Sylvester Stallone stars in this one. Diane Lane, Rob Schneider, Joan Kerr. I'm pretty sure I've seen this once. Now, since you want to talk about the movie Judge Dredd, I don't have to really look it up, but another good Sylvester Stallone movie from the time period would have to be Demolition Man. If you've never seen Demolition Man, that's Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes. I highly recommend that movie as well. I'm actually gonna pull it up if I can find it. There it is. Demolition Man. Came out in 1993. It's a science film, action film with Sylvester Stallone, Wesley Snipes, Sandra Bullock. Yes, Demolition Man. What did you boggle? Was that the movie with the 3 shells? Yeah. Yes, Gina, it was, and it was a hysterical 3-shell scene. Spot on with the 3 shells. I love it. Demolition Man is a classic movie that I could still sit back and enjoy to this day. It's going to be 20 years old this year. That is hard to believe. October 8th, 1993, it was released. So, come October, we might have to... Sorry about that. I had some audio issues. I apologize about that. Am I back? Yep, I'm back. Okay. Sorry about that. For some reason, once in a while, my camera likes to just completely shut itself off. Maybe it's a sign to tell me to go. I just got a message from Curtis. I'm going to see if he gets back in. He should. You guys can all see and hear me, right? If you can see me and hear me, put a 1, please. Put a 1 in chat. Okay, I got 1 from Gina. That's good. Okay, I'm back. Like I said, I'm sorry about that. My computer sometimes kicks me out of my own show, but I'm back. Okay, thank you for the 1s. I appreciate it. So I don't know what happens. It just does that from time to time, but I appreciate everybody sticking with me. I didn't hit end broadcast or anything like that, so I didn't lose anything. So yes, we were talking about Demolition Man coming out in 1993. This movie will be 20 years. No, sorry, pardon me. 30 years old come October 8th of this year. So it's hard to believe that this movie will be 30 years old, honestly. It's kind of mind-blowing, but it is a very good movie. And it has a very good cast to it also. Like I mentioned, you got Sylvester Stallone, Wesley Snipes, Sandra Bullock, Nigel Hawthorne, Benjamin Bratt, Dennis Leary. If I'm not mistaken, Dennis Leary came out with a song called Asshole right around the same time as this movie was made. So, Bill Cobbs, not confused with Bill Cosby. Bill Cobbs, Jesse Ventura has a cameo. Rob Schneider has a role in it, but they don't give him credit. Wasteland Scrap number 2. Wasteland Scrap number 2. Wow, so Jack Blackson is apparently. Yeah, I mean, David Patrick Kelly. No, Gwen Staddix. I'm sorry. Associate Bob. So, Gwen Staddix, if you're not so familiar with it, also stars in the movie Beetlejuice. He plays, what the hell is his name in Beetlejuice? Alpha or something. He's a very well-known actor from the early 90s and stuff. But Gwen Staddix is another very good actor from the time period. So, is there any other movies that people would like me to look up? I mean, if not, I think this is a good stopping point. It's 11 o'clock where I live, so I know people probably want to dip off soon. I mean, I thank everybody for came out in 86. This is another great Sylvester Stallone movie, and it came out in 86 Cobra. Yes, the car in the movie is an 86 Cobra, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, there's no way to go through and find the car model and stuff, but it was all filmed in downtown LA too, so gotta love that. It grossed $58 million and was #1 in the box office the weekend it came out. So, oh no, the movie was called Cobra. Let me look that one up for you, Curtis. And then I will look up Red Notice, and we will call it a night. Good Morning Vietnam, Gary. We talked about it briefly. It was in 1987. It came out. It's a good Robin Williams movie. Bit controversial at times, but a very good movie for the time period. Sorry. Oh, shut up after. Curtis, you're fine. You never have to be quiet. You know how this show goes. We want people to interact as much as possible. So, I just know it's getting late. I know some people might have to get off soon. So, I can go all night. I mean, I love talking about movies, but I'm sure people don't want to sit here and listen to me talk about movies until 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. So, but the movie Cobra, like Curtis has asked, was written by Sylvester Stallone, who also starred in the title role. Okay, so Gary, again, no need to be sorry. I will go back. I can bring up Good Morning in Vietnam if you want. I mean, we'll talk about Cobra real quick for Mr. Curtis. Matt had mentioned Red Notice. I'll see if I can find that. And then I will bring up Good Morning Vietnam for you. We can talk about it. So there's no need to be sorry. I mean, as long as you guys want to keep going, I will keep going myself. You guys let me know. But, Sylvester Stallone, who helped write it, was also the main character. Lieutenant Morin Cobra Cabretti, Bridget Nielsen, Rennie Sanitary, Andrew Robertson. So I can talk movies too all night, Gina. So I just don't know how late people want to stay up. I mean, it's 11 o'clock where I'm at. I'm in New Jersey, so I know Gary's in New Jersey. Curtis is out west. Matt's in New Jersey. So, yeah, I mean, movies is a awesome topic. I think Friday Night Movie Night is one of the original shows that we started doing when we started doing live shows. So, it's only 9 o'clock here. Okay, so we got 9 o'clock where Curtis is, 10 o'clock in Mississippi. So, we're all in different time zones, which is cool. I mean, it means the show's getting after. I mean, we're spreading the love. So, it's all good. I'm at work listening to you. Well, I appreciate you listening to me at work, Gary. What was I looking for? We're gonna look for versions. No. Critical response. Here we go. Yee. Curtis, I don't know if you knew this or not, but this movie only on Rotten Tomatoes again. We don't really count Rotten Tomatoes. I'm from Jersey. I lived there for 35 years. Wow. What made you move down to Mississippi, if you don't mind me asking? That's just a very big jump for living in one place for 35 years, then to pack up and just say, I'm out. If you don't want to tell me, Gina, you don't have to. It's okay. I'm just asking the question, so don't feel obligated to answer the question. So, but yeah, this movie scored 18% on Rotten Tomatoes off of 22 reviews. Had an average rating of 3.0 out of 10. Was my favorite one. The cinema score, based off the audience poll, gave it a B on a scale of A to F. And on the Metacritic, it scored a 25 out of 100 based on 9 critics, indicating generally unfavorable reviews. So the fans loved it, the critics hated it. So it depends on how you look at it, you might as well say. Like, so again, that's why I always say you can't judge a movie based off these stupid critics, because yes, they know what they're doing, but they don't always see the same sense. Okay, I got you, Gina. That makes sense. Moving for a spouse, that makes sense. So, Red Notice. So this movie, Matt mentioned, just recently came out in 2021. It's an action comedy film directed by Lawson Musher Thunberg, starring The Rock, of course, Ryan Reynolds and Gail Gilbert. So this is a fairly new movie. I'm not really too familiar with it. Looks like it was a straight to Netflix release, if I'm not mistaken. So I will have to go on Netflix and check this one out, Matt. I mean, I went on a first date to see that. Oh, so this movie actually got released in the movie theater? I only heard it came out November 5th of 2021, so I mean it's been out for over a year now, so you learn something new every day talking about movies, that's for sure. Doesn't even really give you a reception. Hold on. There you go. Scored a 30% on Rotten Tomatoes, and with an average rating of 4.8 out of 10. Metacritic a 37 out of 100. Hey, what about my cinematic score? It doesn't even tell me what the audience thought of it. Damn. I will have to go back and watch this one, I promise. No, Tango and Cat. Oh, okay. So I'm getting confused on my movies. I apologize. And there was another one. Oh, yeah. We have to look up Mr. Gary's movie choice, which was Good Morning Vietnam, which I have seen. A lot of people also have seen. This came out in 1987. It's a war comedy film starring Robin Williams in it as a radio DJ, Armed Forces Radio Network. Okay, that's what it was. So it's based off of 1965 over in Saigon. That's what it was, Saigon. It wasn't Vietnam, Saigon. I have seen this before. It's definitely worth the watch. Like you said, Robin Williams plays a crazy radio DJ. Forrest Whitaker's in it. J.T. Walsh. So this movie, where a lot of people want to criticize it, was also a very good movie. Matt says, I have not seen it yet. Matt, I would recommend it. It was definitely good. Me love you long time. Yes, that is another very famous quote from Good Morning Vietnam. Is me love you long time. Rotten Tomatoes gave this film an 89%, which is really good. Got an average rating of 7.4 out of 10. Really good. A 67% off of 15 credits, so above that 50% what we want. And the cinema score, which the audiences gave the film A minus, which you can do a little bit better, but that's pretty damn near towards the top. I mean, American Comedy Awards it won, ASCAP Film and Television it won, Robin Williams won Golden Globes for it, Grammy Awards. So, yes, like Gary said earlier, may he rest in peace. Absolutely. The next one on the list we're going to look up for Mr. Curtis and Miss Gina, since they both have seen this movie. I might have. Tango and Cash. This is considered a buddy cop action comedy film with Sylvester Stallone and Kurt Russell, two great actors from that time period. So I can already see how this was a good movie. Came out December 22nd, 1989. The same day as Always. Both films were the last to be released by Hollywood in the 1980s. So, Matt, thanks for popping in tonight. Appreciate the support. Love the movie recommendations. And I will talk to you soon, buddy. Have a good night. We got Sylvester Stallone, Kurt Russell, Jack Palance, Terry Hatcher, Michael J. Pollard, James Hong, Roy Brocksmith. So, a decent, well-known cast for, I would say, the time period. Just alone, Sylvester Stallone and Kurt Russell would be a selling point to me. Anytime you can pair those two up, it's a good night. So, now we have all the pre and post production, critical response. Here we go. The film has a score of 31% on Rotten Tomatoes based off 48 reviews, an average rating of 4.4 out of 10. Brutally, violently, and punishingly dull. This cookie cutter cop thriller isn't even fun to reach. So bad it's good status. On Metacritic, the score weighted at 41 out of 100. Audience polled by CineScore gave the film an average of B plus on the A to F scale. So again, the critics may have hated it, but the fans loved it because a B plus is a pretty good score. So, potential sequel. In September 2019, Stallone revealed that he has a story written for a potential sequel. The filmmaker stated he is trying to convince Kurt Russell to sign on to the project, though he anticipates the film will be made. So Tango and Cash might have a remake coming out. Curtis and Gina like the first one. I don't know how you would feel about a remake. So, and then what other ones have we had? First Blood. If I'm not mistaken, that's a Rambo movie. And I think I watched that recently. If I'm not mistaken. I'm sorry, Gina. I didn't mean to cause you technical difficulties. I apologize. First Blood, also known as Rambo's First Blood. Gary, Ocean's 13 will be next. First Blood came out in 1982, sorry, not 92. So it's co-written by Sylvester Stallone, who also stars as Vietnam veteran John Rambo. So it is the first installment in the Rambo franchise, followed by Rambo First Blood Part 2. So the film is based off the novel First Blood that came out in 1972. So they made a movie based off a book 10 years later. That's kind of odd to see, but it doesn't surprise me that back then a lot of novels were being made into movies, so that doesn't surprise me. You had Sylvester Stallone, Robert Kenner, Brian Denby, Bill McKinney, Jack Starrett, Michael Colbert, Chris Mulkey. So, I could see that cast being pretty popular in the early 80s. That makes sense with some of these names. Then I'm just looking at casting real quick. When the project was purchased by Warner Brothers, Robert De Niro and Clint Eastwood were both considered for the role of Rambo. And then intended as Paul Newman was also considered as Rambo. Paul considered Steve McQueen, James Caan, Burt Reynolds, and Robert Redford were also considerations. So that's a pretty wide range of well-known actors in the early 80s to be considered for this role. Now, that's another pretty interesting subject we could talk about one Friday night, is going through some of these movies and who was considered for the roles. Because not always was that first choice always the right choice for the movie. So we can have a movie discussion one Friday night if you guys want about movies that could have been altered by a different type of thing. Like the one thing we mentioned before was Will Smith was originally wanted for the Matrix movie. So how would the Matrix have panned out if Will Smith was Neo and you removed Keanu Reeves? So that's a whole other discussion to have in itself. So if you guys would be interested in a conversation like that one night, let me know. I think it would be really cool. Alright, we got 2 movies ahead of that, Curtis. I will get to Commando. I'm looking for... There you go. Critical response. Whoa. This one's big. It holds an 86 approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes, a 7.2 out of 10. Much darker and more sensitive than the sequels it spawned. It scored 61 out of 100 on Metacritic. Doesn't give me an audience score though. In 2008, it was named the 253rd greatest film ever by Empire Magazine. On Empire Magazine, on its 2008 list of the 500 greatest movies of all time. So middle of the pack. Out of 500, that's pretty damn near middle of the pack. So I think I watched this for the first time recently. I could be wrong, but I do remember watching one of the Rambo movies. I just can't remember if it was this one or the second one. But good choice of movie because definitely a good time period. A lot of movies that came out in the late 70s, early 80s were supposed to depict how Vietnam was. So definitely could see that movie being Vietnam related. Gary had suggested Ocean's 13. Ocean's 13, 2007. American heist comedy film. It is the final installment in the Ocean's film trilogy and the sequel to Ocean's 12, which came out in 2004. So this is 3 years after Ocean's 12, which I never really understand it, like how they did these movies. But yeah, George Clooney, Brad Pitt, Matt Damon, Andy Garcia, Don Cheadle, Bernie Mac, Al Pacino, Casey Affleck. So pretty kick-ass cast for the early 2000s. I think I've only watched one of these movies, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, I mean, just reading the cast, it's an all-star cast, so you can't go wrong with that. On Rotten Tomatoes, it holds a 70% approval rating, so you're above that 50% threshold that you want. An average rating of 6.4 out of 10. And it scored a 62 out of 100 on the Metacritic. And the Cinema Score gave it a B+. Cinema Score gave it a B+. See, now, Cinema Score is the way to go. If you want to judge a movie based off how people thought about it, Cinema Score is a lot different than Rotten Tomatoes or Metacritic. Cinema Score is actual people, like me and you, going to rate these movies. So, how I would base how I would review a movie at CineScore. So sometimes when you have a lot of big names and it doesn't work, but that series did it well. That's what I've heard. It's been a while since I've seen any of them, but you're right. Sometimes you add an all-star cast or a movie, and the movie just comes out horrible because you got multiple big-name egos getting in the way of like what the movie's supposed to be about. Another one that had a really awesome cast that I haven't really brought up tonight, but it was a really good cast and a really somber true story is the movie Bobby. I don't know if everyone's any seen it, but Bobby is another one that depicts the life of Robert Kennedy, and the cast they had for that movie was just over the top. A very good movie as well, and it depicts a lot of factual stuff based off of it. Here's a couple of Kurt Russell movies I will add those two. I have Gina with the Flight of the Navigator now. And then I will look up your Commando, and then we will do your other two. And then I might call it a night, unless you guys have some more that you would like to go over. Flight of the Navigator. Here you go. Flight of the Navigator, 1986. It's a science film action directed by Randall Kresser, Joey Kramer. Ooh, an early film appearance by Sarah Jessica Parker. And I saw Striking Distance. There's a name drop for you. Striking Distance is a old Bruce Willis, Sarah Jessica Parker movie that was actually really good in the early 90s. If you haven't seen it, like boats, like cop movies, I highly recommend it. So we had Joey Kramer, Paul Reubens, Veronica Cartwright, Crafty Young, Sarah Jessica Parker, Iris Acker. So, Joey Kramer and Sarah Jessica Parker probably were the selling points I could see of this movie. We got critical response. I get an 84%. So people loved it apparently. Scored a 6.6 out of 10. You're above that 5.0, which you want. Gave it 3 stars. A new high for Disney. Okay. A 3 out of 5 based off People magazine. Bolstered by its impressive special effects and charming performance from its young star, Flight of the Navigator holds up as a solidly entertaining bit of family-friendly sci-fi. Huh. So yeah, I mean, 84% and 6.6 out of 10. I would say that's a solid 3-4 stars out of 5. So I would definitely have to check this one out as well. Good recommendation, Miss Gina. That came out August 1st of 1986. So that movie's closing in on, 40 years of being out. Jeez. We got Commando next for Mr. Curtis. Commando, 1985. Here we go. An action film. We all know that. It's Arnold Schwarzenegger. Most of his movies are action movies. Ray Dong Chung, Elisa Manolo, Running Walls, Bill Duke. We all old. Well, I got 41 minutes till I'm officially 36. Well, not technically because my birthday was in the mid-morning, but it'll be the 28th, so yes. 41 minutes to go, and I will be 36 years old. Yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger back in the day, like between Commando, Predator. Well, thank you, Miss Jean. I appreciate that. My mom tells me that too. Yeah, but Arnold Schwarzenegger, Commando, Predator, True Lies, Racer, Last Action Hero. Like, Arnold was known to do good action movies in this time period. Well, another one that he did probably 2-3 years after this one came out was Terminator. everyone knows the original Terminator. Oh, you happy birthday, my friend? I know, don't rush it, right? Gary, you can rush it all you want because it's gonna happen no matter what. So, what else do we have? So yeah, Arnold Schwarzenegger, Elisa Minnello, Dan Heda, Bill Duke. So Arnold being the top of the bill is probably why people went and saw this movie for what it was. Holds a 67% on Rotten Tomatoes, 5.8 out of 10. The ultimate 80s Schwarzenegger movie will plant with thoroughbred plot, outsized action, and endless one-liners. On the Metacritic, it scored a 51 out of 100. So it hits that above 50 threshold. So I always say you want to hit a movie out of a possible 100. You want to be over 50 to be considered a decent movie. So 51 is borderline, in my opinion, but I could be wrong. Commando inspired many other action movies, including Strike Commando, Commando Squad, and When Eagle Strike. And they had an action figure that came out in 1986. I'm sure Curtis had that one. Right, what's next on the list? We have, after Commando, Big Trouble in Little China. Something tells me I've heard of this movie also. Directed by John Carpenter. Here we go. That's had to be pretty good. John Carpenter, Kurt Russell, Kim Cantrell. Chris, that will be your last one. I have your Big Trouble in Little China up now. Then we're going to look up Overboard real quick. And then I will end the night on Time Cop. Okay, so we have Kurt Russell, Kim Cattrall, Dennis Dunn, James Hong, Victor Wong, Kate Burton, Donald Lee, Carter Wong. That's a lot of Wongs and Hongs. Jeez. Peter Kwan, James Pax. Huh. I could see why this was Big Trouble in Little China. A lot of Chinese names. I'm not trying to be stereotypical, but it just seems like a lot of Chinese people. Correct me if I'm wrong, please. Scores a 74% on Rotten Tomatoes based off 65 reviews. It got a 6.4 out of 10 on the average rating. Metacritic gave it a 53% based off 15 critics. And the audience surveyed by CineScore gave the film a B+ on a scale of A to F. So a lot of B pluses in it. It seems like a lot of B-rated movies, but good movies. I mean, I definitely have a lot to check out. I'm not gonna lie. Some of these I probably have seen. It's just been a while since I've seen them. But taking the time to look them up has been fun. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, it's a blast from the past. There's a movie for you. Blast from the past. Ron based in his review for the Toronto Star praised Russell's performance. He does a great John Wayne imitation. Kurt Russell playing John Wayne. Quite interesting. Curtis's next movie is one I have seen and one that is in my collection. If I can spell it right, that'd be great. Overboard. 1987, filmed by Gary Marshall. Written by Leslie Dixon, starring Gordie Howe and Kurt Russell. Two of the great 80s actors and actresses, because they were known for so much. I actually think I have some of these film scores on my playlist, because looking at the guy who has composed the music soundtrack, Alan Silverstein is also very known for a lot of movies. And on my Spotify account, I have a playlist of just specific movie scores. And I'm not lying when I say this. That playlist is over 48 hours long. I can sit and listen to movie film scores for hours. I don't know why. It's just good synthetic music just to relax to. Call me crazy, but just say. But yeah, Overboard was great. Curtis, you're nailed on the head. Overboard was such a good movie. You got Gordie Howe, Kurt Russell, Edward Herman, Kathleen Hellman, Lottie McDowell. Yeah, I mean, the cast doesn't seem that well known, but Gordie Howe and Kurt Russell just were selling points to this movie. So, back in the 80s, we would buy the soundtracks to the movies on cassette. Wow. Okay, Miss Gina, I see where you're coming from. I mean, yes, movies and the soundtracks have evolved. They did start on cassettes. My mom had the movie Grease on cassette. And then when I was growing up, you had CDs. And nowadays, all you need to do is type in what you're looking for on a music platform, whether if it's a composer or a movie, and boom, you have your CD right on your phone. It's amazing, but it's how it does. All right. So Overboard on Rotten. Yeah, I mean, if you there's certain places you can still go and find movies, uh, soundtracks on cassette. I mean, I go to a lot of thrift stores and Goodwills, and you got countless number of cassettes, and 95% of them are movies. So you can definitely still find them. Now, the question is if you have an old cassette player or can you find one? I'm sure you can, but they're so vintage nowadays that you're going to probably pay an arm and a leg. Like some of the movies I want to own that I don't have in my monster collection behind me that you see, it's just mind blowing that the cost of some of the movies nowadays are expensive as they are. So, yeah, I mean, cassette was the way to go. My first car had a cassette player. Then again, my first car was an '86 Ford Tourist station wagon. So, what's that tell you? But this movie holds a 46% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. So you're borderline, but you're still there. Average rating of 5.2 out of 10. Again, borderline. Metacritic gave it a 53 out of 100. So you're above that 50%. And then CineScore, the audience gave it an A minus on their scale. So audience love it, and I'm sure still a lot of people go back and rewatch this movie to this day, and I'm sure it holds up. I still have my boombox from when I was 10. That's cassette, and I had my dad's 8-track player. Wow. That's all I can say about it. Wow. I had, back in the day, me growing up as a kid, I had a 5-disc changer. But I know a lot of people who had those 8-track players, Curtis, and they are freaking fantastic pieces of equipment. If I could find one, I would buy it, just to have it. I mean, I don't have it hooked up. I have an audio receiver tucked away in this room that I eventually hope one day to get hooked up and have my surround sound going. But yeah, but an 8-track player, I haven't heard that in a while. So we got Overboard, and then Gary wanted me to do Beavis and Butthead Discover. Now I don't know if it's Discover America or Do America, Gary. Let me see. No. So Gary, the movie you're talking about is Beavis and Butthead Do America. Now, this is definitely an adult movie, so I apologize if anyone's listening with their kids. But Beavis and Butthead Do America is by far the most craziest movie I've ever seen. My ex had an 8-track player in our van and got an adapter. Now that's awesome, Gina. That be able to have an 8-track player in your car must have been awesome. Go on a road trip, just pop in 8 separate cassette tapes, and then once one's done, you can just change it over to the next tape. That must have been awesome. I am jealous. But Beavis and Butthead Do America is basically them trying to revitalize a TV show from back in the early 90s. Like, yeah, I don't know how to even describe it, but like MTV helped produce the movie because they had the rights to the TV series still. And if you ever watched the Beavis and Butthead TV series, they were short comedies. You only see Beavis and Butthead maybe, I'd say, an average of 8 minutes an episode because the episode's more focused on getting the music video out instead of having those two on screen. Sure, you have Beavis and Butthead as the main roles in the TV series, but later down the road, they made a more animated series about a specific character from Beavis and Butthead with Daria. Daria took over for Beavis and Butthead back in the day. So, I have the series on DVD. I do not, but I'm sure there's multiple ways of finding the series. I have my parents' record player and some of the old records in 45. Curtis, do not get rid of those. They are going to be worth a pretty penny one day. I guarantee it. Just like, they might not be worth much nowadays, but back in the day, I could easily probably sell half that movie collection for about $700 to $800 with some of the titles I have. I mean, I made a boatload of money selling my collection back in the day. I had to rebuy a bunch of movies because I missed them. I have 330-something movies back here. So, Gary actually has one of my movies still. I loaned him my Goonies DVD, which I have not got back yet, sir. Still waiting for it. But I'm lucky enough to have the Goonies on Blu-ray as well. And the Goonies on Blu-ray is amazing. So, Gina, if you love the Goonies and haven't watched it on Blu-ray yet, I highly, highly recommend it. But, yeah, Beavis and Butthead, they travel America. Goodwill has albums, yes. I've seen plenty of Goodwills that have albums. Thrift stores have them. Like, there's a lot of places that you can find albums. And nowadays, a lot of record players are turning up. So, Goonies is on TV right now while I'm listening to you. I'm watching it. Now, Curtis, is that your first time ever watching the Goonies, or have you seen it multiple times? No, Gina said I'll have to check it out. I only have it on DVD. I highly recommend it, Gina. I have it on Blu-ray, and I am blown away by it. Now, they have it out on 4K already, which I have yet to see, but from just DVD to Blu-ray is a whole different experience. And when I say whole different experience, like, I want you to compare a scene for me, but in your own opinion. So, if you watch the regular DVD, when they're in the cave and like they come upon Chester Copperpot, watch that scene on DVD, but then when you watch it on Blu-ray, watch that same exact scene. So, it's just mind-blowing, the contrast in that scene alone. So, Gina, if you want to reach out to me off to the side when you watch it, I'm curious to get your feedback on it. But that scene alone would blow you away, because you see so much more detail from the DVD aspect to the Blu-ray. So, and she says, I do have a 4K player. And Curtis says, I have to say I've seen it about 500 times. I can't count off the top of my head, Curtis, how many times I've seen it, but it's more than 500. Definitely more than 500 times. Considering the fact that I used to watch it 4 or 5 times as a day growing up as a kid. To the point my sisters hid the movie from me, and to this day I have yet to ever find it. But now that I have my own house, my own place, I can watch it whenever I want. So Samantha, Sarah, Nicolette, if you're watching, we'll go back and watch this. I got the Goonies. Hey, you guys. But going back to Beavis and Butthead, I think at one point, Gina, I had it on VHS as well. But I didn't have a VCR, so I might still be at my parents' house. If it is, I would be amazed, because I had bought a copy for myself as I got older. But I know I definitely at least have my Blu-ray copy on my shelf, and nobody touches that but me. Sorry. Wow, this movie holds a 71% approval rating on Rotten Tomatoes with an average of 6.4 out of 10. Okay. Metacritic gave it 64 out of 100. Generally favorable reviews. And audience gave it a B+. Wow. Wow. I thought people would hate this movie. That just blows me away. The film was released on Blu-ray for the first. Oh, so this movie's actually on Blu-ray now, huh? December 7th, 2021, of 2021, in combination with the film's 25th anniversary. Huh. I think I know what I'm buying on Blu-ray this week. I could sit and listen and watch Beavis and Butthead nonstop. I can't do it much anymore, but I used to be able to do a very good Beavis impersonation. No, I'm not going to do it here, because I would have to take off my headphones, take off the hat, and go crazy, but I used to be able to do TP for my bunghole very well. Maybe I'll surprise you guys one night and do it if you guys want to come back and watch another show. But I think that was the last one that people recommended. Unless I forgot one. Nope, I got them all. I have a t-shirt that says Cornholio. Wear that t-shirt proudly, Gina. Wear it proudly. But I'm over my 2-hour mark. I try to keep my show within 2 hours. I appreciate you guys all staying and rocking with me. I hope you guys enjoyed this show. I mean, it was a little see my I promise I'm not doing this on purpose, but my computer's acting funny. That's normally a sign for me to get going. So I'm back, I hope, for now. But usually when my computer acts up, that's the sign for me to hit the step and get going. But Gina, Curtis, Gary, I appreciate you all hanging out with me. I hope I entertained you guys for tonight. I mean, it's nice. I hope my new mic sounds good. I'm going to slowly start getting my stuff downstairs into my new studio. I mean, we have a lot of exciting things coming from the show. We might have a special live show coming Sunday from Myrtle Beach. Mr. Ron, our Monday night host, is in Myrtle Beach for the next couple of days. So he said when the Eagles win on Sunday, he will go live from a sports bar in Myrtle Beach, and we will do a live show after the Eagles win. Eagles have a very big game on Sunday. Nah, we don't want to see Ron. Gina, that's one you have to take up with Ron. He's on our Monday night shows, which alright, I gotta hurry up and try to quickly do this. Sorry about that. I'm back. Hold on. Wait for it. There it goes. Okay. Sorry about that again. Sorry. So we might be doing a special show on Sunday. If not, we will have Sports Gladiators on Monday. Tuesday night, we're doing our entertainment night. Curtis, Gina, Gary, if you have stories that you would like to tell that you've never really shared, we're doing adult story time, which is going to get crazy. Next Wednesday, I will be live again for Video Game Mania with King Uno Gaming, or King Uno ENT, short for entertainment. He's a very down-to-earth, chill streamer I hang out with. I talk to a lot. He's agreed to come on and do a video game show with me. Next Thursday, we will have the Mike Russo show back with Mike Russo's Top 10 Annoying Things. It debuted last night. He had a lot of fun with it. And then next Friday, we have our Friday night movie segment again. So, until then, I hope you guys all have a terrific night. thank you for hanging out with me. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to drop a like, reaction, share it out so we can build the show more with more people next week. But until then, I will see you guys either Sunday or Monday night, and I will be 1 year older. Let me just read my last comment. Happy birthday. Have a great night. Gina, you as well. Thanks for popping in. Good night.